I'm so very excited today because I'm here to talk to the wonderful Buffy Davis, who, of course, plays Jolene Archer, no less. Buffy,
Right.
welcome.
Thank you, Philippa. It's gorgeous to be here.
It's so good to talk to you. Now, some people might be surprised at your accent. It's not an Ambridge accent.
In real life, no,
Yeah.
it isn't. I mean, it's a chameleon thing, but I started off life in Canada, so I'm Canadian, and yeah, so that comes through, and people still say things like, "Are you here on a visit?"
Really?
"Oh no, I live here." Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
fine.
goodness. But when you came over, if I'm right, you were much more of a sporty person than an
Yeah,
arty person.
yeah,
Yet some things happen. I mean, first of all, it must have been really hard moving from Canada to the
yeah.
UK.
Yes, it was. I mean, you do what you can follow them, obviously, like school was doing school. Um, I gotta say, and I talk about this not a lot, but, if ever asked, it's a very different culture.
Mm. Yeah.
The language is the same, nearly, but the nuance is very different, and we moved to Manchester, just south of. It's very different up there. So, it was yeah. I didn't really fit in
Mm.
very well.
And was it Vancouver in Canada? You'd be, yeah. So Vancouver to Manchester. My goodness, that's
Different.
a huge change. And you were a teenager at that
Yeah.
point. So even harder. And so your foray into the arts, into drama, happened, I believe, because of an incident at school and a headmaster's response to that.
Oh,
Is
where
that
did you
correct?
get your information? Yeah. Um, yeah, that story goes. So I just wasn't really, um, quite fitting in. I'd lived to ski and to skate.
Hmm.
That's all I was probably a very dull person, but that's what I did. And, yeah, that didn't the mountains aren't just there in
No, in Manchester.
yeah. There's some very nice hills, but anyway, and no snow. So, I don't really know why. I wasn't thinking it through. I just thought, "Oh, perhaps this isn't the place for me." And, I think I was bored in the lesson. I mean, I didn't deliberately think I'll do this and this will ensue, but, I was just experimenting, I think. Anyway, we had a kinda desk that opened like that, and I had some paper inside there, and I just set fire to it.
Of course, as you do.
And kinda waited to see the teacher would notice, um, and she did.
Yeah. What with the flames coming out? How big a fire was it,
Look,
roughly?
it wasn't dramatic. It sounds like it
Okay.
it didn't really catch I think it was a charring, shall we say, but it wasn't too bad. But, I think they then sort of sat up and thought, "Oh, what's wrong with this kid?" Because I had learned very quickly to say it like that. I went to school like that. Because that's how everyone else spoke. Because when I first opened my mouth and said probably quite crass things like, "What do you mean your bathroom's in the garden?" Obviously, I wasn't very popular. So I get that. Anyway, and the head mistress, whatever she's called, she kinda called me in and said, perhaps we should do something with you." And she sent me along to meet this guy who, gosh, lucky me. In those days, Cheshire Education Committee ran a drama course for kids, mostly who were good at drama, but he did take the odd delinquent. So I had to go on to this other school and interview for this guy, and he was very, very like Laurence Olivier,
Oh, wow.
very, very beautifully turned out. And he said, "And why do you want to come on this course?" And I said, I don't want to. No, I haven't got any interest in going on it." Nonetheless, bless him. He said, "You're coming?" My parents were kind of thrilled, going, "You get rid of her for 3 weeks." The crazy thing. And, he saved my life. I mean, that's the way I
Amazing.
put it. And, He was a wonderful gentleman called Peter Dornford May, and there are many people, not only in, showbiz, but, generally just who really benefited from the course, and, he ran it like a drama school, so you did sort of, makeup and improvisation, and he had got people from the industry to come and talk to these kids and teach them.
Gosh.
I mean, pretty extraordinary. It was on we were, residential at a place called, was then called HMS Conway, it's now called the Menai Centre on Anglesey, and, he gave me a part in the play, and I played Lady Anne and Richard III, and I think I can't ask him now, but because he's dead, sadly, but I think he thought, "We better give her something." And, I mean, he auditioned me and everything, but, and I just at the end of it, I thought, "Oh, okay, I can do this," or I kind of feel okay doing this, and people aren't being mean,
Mm.
or I'm not being so weird, or I'm finding a way through. And so I said to him at the end, "What do you do?" And he said, "If I want to do this, what do you do?" And he said, "You go to Guildhall." So I had no sense that, you might not get in. So I applied for Guildhall,
And
and
the
the
rest
rest
is
was,
history.
yeah. But I mean, Sonny was also on that course. Not sure.
Were you there together?
Oh,
No.
no, no, I didn't know. I think we found that out not that long ago, but, yeah.
Gosh.
And Peter's son, Mark, is still a great friend of mine, and indeed his daughter, Tamisa, is now acting, and she's in musical theatre, and so it's kind of a dynasty that carries on. Yeah, I'm not in the dynasty, but, yeah, he saved my life. I mean, it wasn't good. I know I tell it amusingly, but actually I think
Yeah.
nowadays we go, "That girl's got mental health issues," you know? Um,
But it just shows we all need someone in our lives, a mentor or someone just to spend time and see what others maybe don't see, and how fantastic that was. And I mean, your career is extensive. We're going to talk about the Archers in a great amount of detail, but you have done so much. I mean, the obvious one that you're probably fed up of people talking about, but Doc Martin, you're a
yeah.
regular feature there. That must have been wonderful.
To have to go down to Cornwall,
Yeah.
every other year to work, pretty glorious,
Mm.
and, we had a house we stayed in, or sometimes at a hotel, and yeah, it was great, and they're very, I mean, obviously completely different to the Archers, but
Mm.
responsive peeps, and,
Mm.
like, for example, one year I said, "Oh, we should have an episode about rowing because they do gig rowing down there," and I row in the Thames. So, I don't say, Martin, anyone really listened to me, but I feel I was slightly instrumental in that and getting them out. It was just, so we made really good friends down there, the rowing team. I sometimes do the Great River Race with them, which is a long way. Yeah, it was a fantastic job.
And you've got a film in post-production at the moment, a Christmas film, if we can say that word this
Oh,
early on.
you can, oh gosh, research has been done.
Ah, yes.
Yes, yes,
3
yes,
Wishes for Christmas, I
that's
believe.
the one.
Yeah.
Just for Christmas. Yes, yes. I'd slightly forgotten about that. Yeah, they were intending to get it out last Christmas, but it was just too, yeah,
Okay.
close to the bone. So, yeah.
Lots going on. So let's talk about the Archers. I mean, when did you first join? Because Jolene returned in 1996, but she was mentioned first of all in 1981.
Yeah, that's not me.
Yeah.
So I'm one
So
of these who's a takeover, if you will.
yeah.
Um, and at the time, I found it a bit weird. I mean, they rang up and said, "Do you wanna do an episode of The Archers?" And I went, "Oh, yeah, no, great." Um, and they said, "So you have to come to Pebble Mill," as it was then, "and, you gotta sing a song, um, because you're a country singer." And I went, "Oh, okay." And the then producer, Vanessa Whitburn, had seen me in a show that I did with a theatre company, and I was singing, so I think she kind of put them in touch, and so I went up and I sang in a tiny studio, well, an office, "Blue Moon of Kentucky." by, Patsy Cline. And, and then they said, "Okay, well, would you come and do an episode, and would you like to do that?" And I went, "Yeah." And I said, "But I'm a bit concerned because I know the character's spoken before, and, what about that actress? Wouldn't she like to do it?" 'Cause, very fair.
Yeah, that was very good of you.
And, and he said, "No, no, she doesn't wanna do it." Oh, or did he? He said, "Oh, actually, we haven't asked." So then I happened to know somebody whose father lived next door to her, and she was
Oh,
living in Devon or somewhere, and, she had turned into a gardener, and she didn't wanna do it anymore.
I see.
So I lucked out.
Mhm.
But yes, she had, and all the history, and I said, "Am I allowed to listen to her voice?" And they said, "No, you can't do that." Whether they didn't have recordings, I don't know, but anyway, they said, "No, we haven't got any of that." So but she's kind of, she's that Borsetshire noise, but she's obsessed with Dolly Parton, and she throws in the odd Americanism. And she very much likes Eddie Grundy. Oh.
And can you remember so you went for one episode to record that,
Mm,
playing the part. Can you remember much about that day? Because it is.
I can
Oh, tell me.
because it was scary, because as a listener, and especially then, so this is '96, uh, I mean, there were some pictures and there were some books, but not many.
Mm.
And of course, there was no internet, so you didn't really know what they looked like. And you go in this teeny, teeny room, and you're next to Tony Archer, and you think, "Oh no, you don't look like that."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but also it was just a bit overwhelming, and I just thought, "Oh." Luckily, I'd done a lot of radio, but usually on the radio, I was only Mrs. North American. Like, I was in Little Women. I mean, all those, Handmaid's Tale, all those things that are
Mhm.
North American, there's a kind of a team of us, and I was always there. I'd never spoken in English, if you like, on the radio. So, yeah, it was scary. And, you go in the studio, and there is, the Aga for Brookfield, and, the bar at the Bull, which is a strange little piece of wood. Yeah, so it was kind of overwhelming, but, I came in, and, I was just giving Eddie, a wig, a Dolly
Mhm.
Parton wig, because he was gonna play Thor in some, Summer Madness, and, yeah, and I came and went, and then we had a very long episode, maybe a few months later, which was with, Clary, which, and it was like a Sam Shepard play. Because Johnny was
Really?
very anxious because, you know, I mean, Trevor, would tell you better than me, but, in my sort of folklore, they got very close to being
Yes.
close,
Yes.
and he still very much, feels an affinity with him.
There's a
Um,
spark there,
this
isn't
is
there? Yeah.
there's a spark with a lot of people,
Yeah.
but, yes, very much that. So, yeah, and then that was that, and I thought, "Okay, fair enough." And then they rang almost a year later, I think, um, and said, "Do you wanna come do an episode?" And I said, "Yes." And, I had to do something else, and in the scene was only Trevor, so Eddie and Sid. And so we did the read through, and I flirted with Eddie because that's what she did. And, we went into the recording, we did it one take, and the producer said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, well, I'm flirting with Eddie. That's, what do you?" And she said, "Don't you know why you're here?" I went, "No, I'm here to record an episode." She said, "No, no, you're about to have an affair with Sid.
Wow.
I'll change the way I flirt." Flirt. So, yeah, that's what
Oh.
happened. Um, and, as stories, I mean, I've heard Annabelle and people say, you think you're just in for a second, and you kinda do, and so there was no sense that was going anywhere, it was just a kind of diversion. Um, but they stuck with it.
And here you are nearly 30 years later.
Yeah, 30 years next year.
Wow, that's That's amazing.
Isn't it?
And
It's nuts.
do you feel like Jolene has changed
I'll
over
just
that
stop you
time?
right there. I'd like you to call her Jolene.
Oh my goodness. So, right, this is a
Everyone
lesson.
picks up on Sonny's inflection, which is marvelous, but Jolene is as in the song, but
Of
Lillian calls her
course.
Jolene. I'm
And
giving
I didn't even realize I was
no,
doing it.
you're
And
you're not the only one, everyone does it. I'm forever saying, "The name is Jolene." It's like the song. We don't
so
say
it's
Jolene, 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 Jolene.
so I need to sing the song every time I'm going to say the name.
Yeah,
So Jolene,
yeah. Well, you
Jolene,
can you can stress the Joe, but give it the full weight as opposed to
Jolene.
J no,
No,
Jolene. It's 2 It's
Jolene.
Jolene,
Oh, I see. Oh my,
Jolene, like the song.
Jolene,
Jolene or
Jolene,
Jolene.
Jolene,
Yes, it is.
Jolene. But
Yes.
emphasis on the Joe. There is very much.
Well, it's just the
Jo-
word is Joe, not
Yes, I know it. I mean, it's now you're saying it, it seems obvious to me, but
yeah.
how in my little head I've got
No,
that
you're not
wrong.
no, everyone, this happens all the time.
Well,
Let's not try and weed it out before we get there.
before we talk any more about Jolene, to try and make up the brownie points, I'm going to show you a T-shirt that I was going to wear, but it came down too low on it, so I don't know if you can see.
The B at Ambridge.
Now, my T-shirt says the B at Ambridge. Do you remember the storyline with Jolene
Yes.
and the change of the pub name? I haven't seen anyone else with that T-shirt, which is why I've got
No.
to wear it. But
Did
you
you
wouldn't
make
have seen it.
or how did you
I obtained it on a
oh, good.
particular website and, yes, and thought, "I've got to dig it out for
Oh, it's
this chat
fantastic.
with
You
you." I love those scenes when, Lillian and Justin were trying to change the name,
mm,
to the V at
yeah,
Ambridge, and, they didn't work, thank goodness.
thank God. But there was a script certainly where I had to go along with them. I found that very hard because
Mm.
'cause Jolene feels very loyal to Sid, and I just knew that that would not
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Okay, Jolene.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's talk about
Yeah.
Jolene.
So
Yeah. How do you feel she has changed, or do you
oh,
feel
yes.
yeah.
I mean, she was, and obviously her status in society hasn't really changed. Well, except I suppose it has, but I mean, she's born where she's born. She's not from, wealthy stock.
Mm. Mhm.
She's pretty much, dragged up, um, in the country, and she's kind of forged her own way, um, with the help of men along the way. But, when she first came in as, the press would have you believe, she was a slapper.
Oh, really?
And
Mhm.
yeah, she'd been very busy in that department. And then of course the affair with Sid didn't help.
Yeah, no. And the shower scene, the
The
infamous.
showers.
Oh, do you cringe when people bring that up?
No, it kind of amuses me because that's her 15 minutes of fame, really, isn't it?
Mm.
I mean, it was completely you couldn't imagine that was gonna be the case. It was just it wasn't sex in the shower, it was just they were having a clean, but, it is all in the ear of the listener, so
And the mind, dear,
and
oh
tomorrow.
dear. But
Yeah.
I worry about Jolene and see, I'm going to spend lots of
Oh,
time
but
trying
no,
to
honestly, when you first introduced me, you said it properly.
Did I? Well, there we
Just
go.
that you get
It's
tempted along the way.
yeah, and I mustn't give in to temptation. But yeah, I worry about Jolene and which who are her friends because yes, she's got Fallon, but that she can confide in, but that's her
Yes.
daughter. And
Yeah.
Lillian, her business partner.
Yeah.
Who is her girlfriend?
Yes, good question. Good question. We talk about that, and I don't she is quite on her own for that, really. Um,
Yeah.
I would imagine well, not Clary because of Eddie.
Mm.
I mean, obviously, that's all long gone, but Clary isn't that for her. Um, I'd go with Susan, but we hardly ever speak. So we can't say that, the listener can't know that, I think that,
Mm.
because we hardly ever speak, so, um No, it's Canton, really.
Mm.
That's it. And so girlfriend, yeah.
We'd like to hear I'd love to hear
Yeah,
Jolene and Susan having a good old
yeah,
natter. And we're recording this a couple of weeks in advance, and,
okay.
at this point, there is a lot going on in the Bull, and obviously we're not gonna do any spoilers, but we can talk about what's happened up to now. We've got, Tortoise the cat being poisoned.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah, that's happened, and we've just had Kenton warning Joy and others to maybe not to and Tracy not to if they don't want to work in the pub for
yes,
now. So there's a lot still happening. You've got some big storylines.
yes. There is
Yeah.
a more to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
There is
okay.
a lot happening, and it's quite scary.
Mm,
And, Jolene feels very protective, of Canton, and, I mean, I think she's stronger than Canton.
agreed.
She's lived a much
Mm,
different life.
mm,
Um, she does think the bull is hers. She's not the majority shareholder, Lillian is, but Lillian in her head doesn't feature, only obviously if she butts into her with,
mm,
she has to make the decisions, and Lillian will have the casting vote. So,
mm,
and as you say, that she's her business partner. She would slightly confide in Lillian, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's her business partner, so not really.
mm,
But, yeah, so I think she can deal with things a lot better than he can.
mm.
But yeah,
But she's got all these worries. I mean, the dog attack scene was extraordinary. It came out of the blue. We were recording an episode straight after that
okay.
episode went live, and we were all in such shock.
Yes.
We did you know it was coming up?
Well, interestingly, I was doing a play in Bath at the time, and, Jeremy rang up. Now Jeremy, our producer, really never rings up. So
Okay.
we just had our press night, and it was 9 in the morning, and, he rang up, and I thought, "Oh, no, it's the call."
I would think that, yes.
And I went anyway, Buffy and I went, "Jeremy, why
How are you?
are you ready to tell me?" And he went, "No, no, no, not yet."
Cool.
Kind, Jeremy. No, and he said, "I just wanted you to know before you get the scripts that I am putting Kenton in harm's way." But he wouldn't tell me, so that's all I knew. Yeah.
Gosh, so when you got the scripts, were you messaging each other or do you not? Yes,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, luckily for me, Richard is sort of my best friend in Ambridge anyway. So we were big pals before they thought to put us together. So it's very easy. It's a great kind of shorthand we have. So yeah, that's all I knew. And then, yes, and it's unfolded, and now it's seems to be unfolding more.
Mm.
I don't know what the listeners is behind it.
Yeah, but it must be an interesting part to play because it feels like some of the characters in The Archers are there just in the nicest way fluff so that the other characters can have more drama.
Uh-huh.
And Jolene has a lot of drama. She's got, everything happening with Fallon and
Yeah.
Harrison and then with Kenton. So it must be, although they're difficult subjects, it
Yeah,
must
yeah.
be quite enjoyable as an actor to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, the scripts are always a delight, even if, sometimes I've had, um, if you can call them storylines about curtains, so you've got crazy ones like that, and then, really in-depth ones. Uh, I've had lovely love stories. I've had grief stories. Daryl Sid died. Yeah, I think she's great. I really love her.
Can we talk about the phrase, my darling?
Yeah, my darling. Yes, you can.
If I was taking shots every time my darling is said in some episodes,
Yeah.
I might need medical attention.
Yes.
Is that, is that a deliberate?
No, no, I mean, that's down to the script writers mostly.
Mm.
Um, if it's another term of endearment, she just doesn't say love, love, and she doesn't say, dear. I just don't think they're her. So, darling, or my darling, or things like that come in. Um, but there was when we had a bit of a storyline about it not so long ago,
Mm.
didn't we? We had a
Mm. Yes, we thought it
Yes,
was going to stop
um,
altogether, but no, they're back.
yes, they're back. But, do you think there are a bit too many?
Um, I've
Some
I s sometimes I do, but I don't know because now I'm so focused on it.
Yeah,
So I think for me, maybe, but I think for 99.99% of people who just don't analyze every word,
mm,
and aren't doing podcasts around it, it's just
it just
part of
fits.
it. In
Yes.
fact, yeah, we've got a question from Facebook, which is very complimentary about it. So it just shows.
It's interesting because we have to, which we sometimes as actors find surprising, we have to quite often name check people. Um,
True.
we have to
Yes.
go, "Oh, Kenton," you either everyone's gonna know that's him or me, but I suppose, and they're for new listeners, aren't they? You don't think that because we've been at it a long time, you think
Mm.
everyone's come along with you, but of course they haven't.
Mm.
Somebody might start listening today.
And we have people listening to the podcast who have listened to the Archers the whole
Oh,
time it's been on, and
yeah,
others who have literally just
yeah,
started. So yeah, you're right.
yeah,
It's an identifier for that
yeah. So they
person.
don't know Jolene's had sex in the shower,
Yes,
you
or
know,
or a good clean, just a good clean.
or just sorry, just a good clue. They don't know that. Or that she was married to somebody else. They don't know that she's stolen the character called Kathy, stolen her fella twice.
I was going to say,
Twice.
are you interested if Kathy does come back from her travels with a man? Are you thinking, oh, I'll be having you?
Well, I think you never say never with Jo. Um, yeah, you never say that.
Yes, I mean it's that range that you have. Do you feel very protective to your family though, to Kenton, to Fallon, and the actors
Yeah.
who play them?
I mean, I feel, sad sometimes that I don't get much interaction with his family. I
Mm.
don't do much
Mm.
with the Archers. I mean, but look, happy days, I never used to get out of the pub. Once I stopped the line dancing sorry, once Jolene stopped the line dancing and, was with Sid, then I rarely honestly, for years, I didn't get out of the pub. Whereas recently I've been to the shop, I've been down I hope that's not a spoiler. Jolene's been in the store, she's talked to all sorts of people. I mean, and people come in the pub, but of course, she might be changing a barrel. He doesn't always get to speak to them,
Mm.
and I have staff that work there, so Tracy's there, had Emma there, I mean, most people have worked there, or Kenton might be doing it, so, um, I yeah, I'm very protective about Jolene's very protective about Fallon, um, and she's, not ambivalent about the Archers, but, like, if David is annoying Kenton,
Mhm.
she would support Kenton, and obviously any day. But she has never really been let in there, even when they got together. I mean, I understand I would say, knowing English society, that, of course, he married way beneath him. In a
In their
way
eyes.
in their eyes, of course,
Mm.
but, in a way, I think they are quite suited, but, I mean, he speaks really well, doesn't he?
Mm.
He's
So when you became an archer, did you think this is it? I've made it.
from because early days, yeah, I was kind of compared with people of ill repute, shall we say. And, so to go from that
Mm.
to an archer seemed unheard of. For the Lily of Leighton Cross to go from that to that, the big family. Yeah, but she was never really welcomed, I gotta be honest. Um, yeah.
And just, we're going to come on to the Facebook questions very soon, but you mentioned about how when you went for that first audition, the first read through, there was an actual bar. Well, there was a piece of wood that was
Oh,
the
yes.
bar. Has that moved to the mailbox? Is it the same piece of
Oh,
wood?
oh, Philippa, yes.
Mm.
It's like a, crate. It's not very wide. It's like a thin, narrow thing, um, about maybe, 8 inches across, and it has
Oh,
flaps on the side of it, like a gate leg table that would collapse,
okay.
but it's like sort of old wooden bits
Mm.
stuck together. And when Jolene has to go through the bar, whatever, the flap comes up. Well, I don't do it. Lovely Nest does that. And, the flap drops down. But it's covered in tape. It is the funniest thing. It just
It's on.
but I saw it in the shop the other day. It's something to
What?
do with them as well. It's not just the bar. I was indignant. I said, "No,
Yes.
it's my bar."
Did you want to put your arms on it and
Yeah,
rest
I was
on your
figuring
bar?
yeah, I got
I wonder what it's doing in the shop. What?
was it in the shop? And it was also somewhere else. Yeah, it's not just my bar. Listen to me, my bar.
Goodness. Yeah,
Let me
well, it is.
my bar. Well, obviously it was Sid's bar, but I do think Jolene feels she has lucked out because she didn't have a job
Mm.
and, yeah, and she's become a sort of, yeah, person of Ambridge.
Yes, 30 years almost later. It's
Yes.
fantastic with some great storylines. Well, Buffy, we come to the most crucial question,
Okay.
very serious, and it is
Yes.
about the subject. We ask this for everyone. It is about the subject of biscuits.
Oh,
What biscuit do you think is Jolene's favourite? Are
biscuit.
you much of a biscuit person? No.
No,
So
well, this is
okay.
the struggle. So, let me I would like to think of something. I think she'd be a big cookie of some kind.
Yes.
Because obviously she'd want a dolly interest. So is there something like can't be a cookies and cream cookie, can there? No, 'cause that
Well,
would
we
make
can make one. I think we could.
um,
There could be a
I'd
cookie with
like
like,
to get, or you know, a Tennessee tumbler.
oh, that sound
They
what
can
is
laugh.
okay. Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, they're brilliant.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
yummy.
Yeah.
They're
Especially when you
about
get the
yay big and they're
yes.
chewy and yeah,
And the special edition ones of
yeah,
those are
yeah.
extraordinary.
They're
Yeah.
very obviously very difficult to get in England at all, so she has to make them.
Yeah, well,
A
and did you
little
get
stamp of a guitar that she put
Well, we come to the questions from the Facebook group, Buffy. So, yes, let's go through them. So, the first question is from Sally, who asks, if Jolene wasn't married to Kenton,
Oh,
who would you like her to have as a husband?
wow.
I'm trying to think what my answer to that would
Oh,
be.
she once had a very fun night with Oliver, but
Did
when
she? I can't remember
oh, yeah,
that.
we see it, but I don't know how long have you been listening?
Oh, a long
Long
time.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was a funny, charity raising event where you picked the name out of a hat and somebody got to spend the night at the Bull, and I had to go with the other person, and, Caroline, God rest her soul, won the night at the Bull. But that's not the scene they wrote, really. We knew she'd gone there, but the scene they wrote was Jolene going round to Oliver's. And, that was pretty wild. And the shower hadn't long happened, so I think sometimes the writers like putting in shower references.
How have I not remembered? I'm going to have to go back and.
Yeah, I don't know how you'd find it, but yes, Oliver and I
Uh,
had a bit obviously nothing happened. There was a lot of flirting, though. Having said that, no, so I can't imagine he'd be my husband, but oh, who would wow, ow.
in a way, I think
You think?
Justin could be quite interesting
Yes,
because he'd have the finances for Jolene to go on her world tour.
that would be great. Yeah, yeah.
She'd put him in his place,
I think now,
and
yes, he could play for the recording that she needs to and then
yes,
upload it to Spotify,
yeah,
of course.
yes,
Um,
exactly.
except, of course, it would be knocking Lillian on the head. He'd be doing the dirty again, but, yeah, Justin, I'd go with Justin for cash. Yes, good idea.
Okay, the next question is from Maddie, who asks, if Kenton was your husband in real life,
Yes.
the character, not the actor, do you think you could put up with him?
No.
So,
I mean, I love Kenton, as the character, but uh well, I'm sure he could adapt. It's just he's kind of mercurial, never quite know where he is, and then, he can get very low.
mm.
So, and sometimes the ideas are a little bit crazy, so I think with a little adaptation.
Some medication and it
Yeah,
might be all right.
medication, but yes, just calm him down sometimes. Yeah.
The next question is from Bridget, who says Jolene and Kenton have always seemed an unlikely couple, to
Yes.
her anyhow.
Yes, yes.
What do you, Buffy, think drew them and keeps them together?
Yes, I don't disagree with that, and I think a lot of people, certainly when it first started, people went, "No, no." Um, and so I'm always interested when people go, "Oh, no, no, I think they're great," because they are quite different,
Mm.
and those differences, kinda complement each other. I don't remember the, passage of time, but Sid hadn't been dead that long, and she was really at sea. I mean, she loved Sid, very deeply, and, the fact that he, died while out running, she didn't even get goodbye. He was gone. She was in a not great place for quite a long time, and there was big stuff happening in that bull. And I remember she just sort of sat there and couldn't really engage. She couldn't be the landlady with, the fun. And so that's a big part of her. When that goes, that was bad. And um, Kenton just kind of came in very gently. And because we'd sort of walked around each other as I was Sid's partner, he was Kathy's partner, we got to know each other and there was kind of common that understanding. So I think that helped as the beginning that we had that kind of background. Um, but then I think he was just very kind. And I don't think she thought it was a very likely match, but she really valued his support and his humor.
Mm.
'Cause he does a very different humor to Sid. Could be a very grumpy man.
Yeah. I love hearing Kenton on the tannoy, whether it's
He
outdoors or
loves
doing a quiz.
Yeah, he loves Yeah, yeah. He does sometimes wanna push him off it, but
Yeah.
if it's not in the script.
Yeah. Great stuff. The next question is from Gillian, who says, is Jolene going to audition for Dross?
Well, she I think she just thinks they should just offer it to her. I mean,
That's true. There shouldn't need to be an audition.
nah, he ain't gonna audition. Obviously, she should be offered, is what she thinks, because
I don't know if she thinks, not in a nasty way, but if she thinks she's above Dross, because she is a
and also,
professional performer.
it's not her music.
Yeah, yes, that as well.
You know, Tennessee Tumblers and all,
Yeah.
that's her stuff. The heartstring stuff.
Hmm.
She
Hmm.
likes a good story and a song.
The next question is from Daniel, who says, Jolene previously shared a different view to David on inheritance tax,
Yes.
showing greater depth to Jolene to me.
Yes.
Does Buffy think Jolene has too many my darlings to caricature her as less intelligent than she really is?
Well, that's interesting. Of course, I suppose in the ear of the listener, of course. I as an actor, think that's putting on, making people feel at home, say, if she's throwing them in the pub and everything, just welcoming them, in that way. Now, I think she's a sharp cookie.
Mm.
No, she doesn't come from any money or any great advantage, but I think she brought up her daughter pretty well, given she
Mm.
was with the shower of gentlemen. And, I think she's instilled sort of really good values in her. But I also think she's sharp. I mean, if Kenton died, she would be okay. I don't think she's sharp-elbowed and well, look, I suppose she did with her men, but, um, uh, yeah, I think she is intelligent. So that's a good point.
So she uses her phrases as a way of making other people feel
It's
comfortable.
like an
You
act,
know.
yes. Yeah.
I agree.
Uh, yeah. And I think it's interesting if we hear My Darling that, uh, as a listener, and I had never thought of that, it could slightly, as he's saying, devalue how intelligent I think she
Mm,
is.
mm,
Fascinating, isn't it?
mm.
The nuances we put on those things. Um, that's very good food for thought. Thank you.
And I do think the phrase "my darling" is so different to love or mate
Yes.
that it stands out. I might not register when people say
Yes.
love or mate
Okay,
in The
yes.
Archers, but that just is so different. It's more
Wow, wow.
obvious. So there we
Wow,
go.
interesting. See, I'm learning a lot about
Well, Ruth has a question, which I think is an excellent question, but I'll be interested to
good
hear what you
luck.
say. Are you ready about this one?
I am ready.
Ruth says, "What question would Buffy like to ask Jolene?"
Whoa, that is a good question.
Yeah.
It'd be along the lines of not just are you happy, but are you doing what you want with your life?
Mm,
Are you fulfilling what you want to achieve?
mm,
Because I do think there's a bit of I think, circumstances have dictated, um, where she is,
mm,
and then she lucked out with the bull. I do think there might be things she really wants to do that she hasn't yet explored. I think
mm.
she's a real wild spirit, I mean, I wasn't there at the time. The stories of her at Glastonbury on the back of a bike topless, she's an adventurer.
Yeah.
And I don't think she's quite childlike still, so I don't think she's a real mix because she has a really good business head, and she's quite sensible, but she's also which maybe we don't hear that much, so that just might be me putting on it, but I also think she's quite out there and, yeah,
Mm.
adventurous and
I think that would be a great question to ask because for all of us, we always think the grass is greener on the other side. So early on in her working life, she might have thought all she wanted was a place that was hers and a
absolutely.
reliable partner. But
Yeah,
then you get that, and
yeah,
even in the best circumstances, it might not be
and it might and
everything.
that was certainly the case for when she got together with Sid. I mean, she did, against her better judgment, fall in love with him.
Mm,
I believe she did.
mm,
Um, but that certainly wasn't the way the writers were thinking of it. They just thought it was an affair. But I just happened to play it that way, and that's the take they used. And sort of so it went on. And she was really grateful because there was a home for Fallon. Um,
mm.
but they were quite opposite. But now, as we are discovering, she's been in that for probably 26 years. I don't know how long she wasn't there, but
A long time. Wow. Right, we've got about 5 more questions. Mia says, "Has Buffy ever said 'my darling' in real life?"
no, no. But I had early in my career, I had a double act when things like the alternative cabaret scene was happening. So with people like Julian Clary and Harry Enfield, and we would go around and do these shows. And we were unusual because we were a male and female, and most people were either comics on their own, and there weren't many double acts. And we sang and we told silly stories. We were known as the Valance Brothers. And my partner, who's sadly no longer with us, used to say, "My darling," but he would say very Bainey, "My darling." He would say it like that. So,
Oh.
yeah, he's the only one I've known to say it.
And so for that reason as well, you wouldn't feel inclined to use that in real life because
No, that's
it's
sort of an
yeah.
end. Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. I'm more of I would call people pumpkin if I'm gonna say anything, and I mean, I'm sure yeah,
I'd
I
love
won't
to hear Jolene say that.
I won't try and sneak it.
We shall listen in for that. Okay, Elizabeth. Now, we've
Yes.
talked about this a little bit, but there might be something else you can add to it. But Elizabeth said, "Does Buffy enjoy the scenes with Fallon? And do you feel a closeness to characters you're related to in real life?"
Yes, which we I didn't really answer that question very well then. Yes, Jo, who plays Fallon, is a great pal of mine. In fact, she stayed here the other night.
Oh.
She quite often stays when she's in London. Yeah, I do feel particularly close to her because when she joined, The Archers is its own little thing, and it's not just like, I don't know, doing a play in town or whatever, because you are gonna stay with these guys. I mean, you might not see some of them for some years, if your episodes don't overlap, you're not gonna bump into them. But, I explained to her, it kind of works like this. It's great, but it's its own thing. And I took her through kind of the, anomalies of the program. And, she's eternally grateful for that. She always says things like, "If only everyone had had that kind of introduction," because you kinda know where you are and you go, "Okay, that's unusual for showbiz, but it's not unusual for Ambridge."
Yes, that's very
So,
true.
yeah, Jo is a great friend of mine, and I really admire her work, and I love the scenes we have together because there's a shorthand.
Mm,
I don't necessarily feel like I don't think Jolene's terribly maternal. So, obviously, this is her daughter, but she now she's a grown woman, I think she speaks woman to woman.
mm, mm.
But equally, the scenes with, Richard, Kenton, the same, yeah, they are but actually all my colleagues, they're great. Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. Louise asks, what do Canadians make of village pubs?
They really like the idea, and they think they know what a pub is because there's some occasionally, but yeah,
They don't know.
and the village isn't there. What's a village?
Mm,
I mean, there's crazy places in provinces like British Columbia, for example. There's crazy places called 100 Mile House because it's that far away from the border. It's 100 miles, and there's maybe a few little stores there. There'd be a bar, so it's just yeah, it's not the
yeah,
same. It's not a
it's
little
not the
village,
same.
not a village green.
Carol says, does anyone ever call Jolene and Kenton Ken and Joe? I don't think they have they?
We've never encountered it. I've never heard it. We do ourselves, Richard and
Do you?
yeah, we do. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Revelations are plenty
yeah,
today.
yeah, we do that. Certainly in a text way, yeah, when we're finding out what's going on, yeah.
Wonderful. The final question is from Mary. Mary is an expat listening daily from Canada.
Yay!
Mary says, did you come up with my darling, or was it a scripted line? And do you enjoy saying it? It makes me smile every time.
Oh, you see? The Canadian gets it. Okay, the truth is, I think I'm telling the truth here in that because of, Andy, my double act, when they were writing scripts initially, it's funny when you think you don't enter The Archers thinking I'm going to be in it for a long time because they said it's an episode. But I wanted a different moniker than didn't think she said, to me, northern people say love. So
Mm.
I couldn't with that weird accent, I couldn't quite make friends with that. Sweetheart, she used to say that a bit. She can say that sometimes. But I don't know, it felt a bit, patronizing.
Mm.
So, I did, I think, come up with My Darling, and the writers, they're happy for you to have your own little things
Mm.
sometimes.
Well,
So, I think it's now between us, and now they just write them in. And sometimes we say, "No, we've heard enough of them."
well, we'll be listening out for a pumpkin.
Yes. Pumpkin. Yes. You see, I could have called Jamie a pumpkin, my lovely stepson. Where is Jamie?
Mm. And that's interesting, yes, because for those who
Yeah,
are
you get
newer, Jamie was Sid and Kathy's
didn't Catherine.
son.
Yes, who I quite brought up with. I did call him Pumpkin a couple of times.
It would be interesting to hear that now because, of course, he had a relationship with Kenton as well when Kenton was going out.
Yes.
Ooh,
Layered, isn't
interesting
it? She's
stuff.
very layered.
Well, we come to the very final question, Buffy, which is the pass the parcel question. So each time we interview a cast member, we ask them a question from the previous cast member we interviewed. And last time we interviewed the wonderful Pat Gallimore, who plays Pat Archer. And her question for you
Yes.
is,
Mm.
If you didn't play Jolene,
Oh,
which character would you like to play the most?
if I didn't play Jolene, who would I like to play the most? Oof, I think
It's a hard one because your character, in many ways, is you wouldn't want to change really because she's in lots of different situations. She's got a good storyline. She's an archer.
um, trying to think of those we don't hear very much as well. Um,
Can't.
I think that I'm going to say, uh, I'm gonna say Eddie Grundy
Fabulous.
because I have a little understanding of him, and I like, yeah, the playful things he gets into.
So you
It's
like the
just
character parts?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
you have.
yeah. I like causing a little mischief. So I'm trying to think characters who do that. Eddie is the one that springs to mind now.
Buffy, it has been such a joy to talk to you and hear more about Jolene. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been great. And
That's,
I love listening to your podcast. So
oh, thank
I
you
hope that,
so much.
yeah, and I
Thank
hope
you.
that answers some questions, but
It did. It's been brilliant.